Hello everyone, this video is on snakes as emotional support animals. And that's kind of an unusual thing to say because we don't normally think of snakes as being emotionally very available or supportive. We usually might think of a dog or a cat or a bunny rabbit as being an emotional support animal. But I wanted to blow people's minds, open people's minds to the possibility that a scaly little female called Florence could be your emotional support reptile. So this is Florence. I've done other videos on her. She's very healing. She's puppy dog tame. She is a very rare sterling boa. And ever since I got her when she was born, I've had her since she was very little. She's only like 2.5 now, but she's going to get 6 foot. I noticed that she had this healing ability, this ability to calm people down. Her eyes are very loving and kind. And she puts people in a meditative state when they hold her. I have clients that really love being with Florence, that hold her, and it puts people into a beginner's mind, into a mindful state, into the present moment as they enjoy the sensation of her on their skin, the way she moves, looking into her eyes, communicating with her. And unless you've really experienced connecting with a snake, you won't maybe fully understand, but you might be able to guess or intuit that it could be extremely healing to be around her or a snake who is beautiful and friendly like her. You can use snakes that are less friendly to overcome fear, to build your confidence. So I have other snakes that I use in therapy that help people overcome trauma. And I'll do another video on that. But for this video, we're going to be focusing on Florence. And we're going to be focusing on what makes a snake an emotional support animal. Well, when we are healing, a lot of our healing comes from reframing, new ways of thinking of things, maybe looking at our belief systems and reevaluating them, coming back into our body, connecting with our emotions and other people, trusting ourselves. And so when you work with snakes, you get all of these different healing modalities and systems going on at the same time outside of your conscious awareness. You just don't know why you feel better when you hold the snake. You don't maybe fully unpick it and unravel it, but you just know, wow, when I was with Florence, my mind was just so much more still. I didn't think about my past when I was with Florence. I came up with creative solutions after I spent time with her. My nervous system actually calmed down. And this is a really common occurrence. Once people relax, they understand she's not poisonous, she's not going to harm anybody. And then once they realize she's not going to bite them, she's not poisonous, they then can drop into a beautiful space where they communicate non-verbally with her, where they have special moments and like this mutual understanding. And obviously, you could harm her if you squashed her. So she's trusting you not to squash her, not to drop her. You're trusting her not to crush your hand or to bite. And you start to kind of follow your intuition, be more mindful, get in touch with your gut instincts. And so all of this happens. And I've seen this so many times. I used to have a snake tank in one of the main areas of my home. And when people came in for psychotherapy, for hypnotherapy, or for life coaching, they would notice the snake tank and they'd get curious. And then they would say, "Oh, can I maybe get the snake out next time?" And so that just started to arise. People started to handle my snakes during sessions, and then they would specifically request for specific snakes. And they'd have their favorite snakes. And actually, I've lost some of my snakes to my clients because they've just bugged and begged me months and months and months to take one of the snakes, which I could never have predicted. You know, if you go to your dentist and there is a fish tank, you don't beg your dentist to take one of the fish home. Or if you go to your psychotherapist and he or she has a little cute dog or cat, you don't beg your psychotherapist to take the cat or the dog home. But isn't it interesting that this has happened to me on multiple occasions where clients have asked, "Please, can I take one of your snakes?" This one in particular, I really connected with that. And you wouldn't think that, would you? And that's why I'm doing this video as snakes as emotional support animals. And when I take my snakes to the park, the same thing happens. I take them to the park, I let them slither around on the grass. People come up to me, they might want to have pictures, but sometimes they just have these profound moments while holding the snake. And it's life changing. And I know that they will remember that moment for the rest of their lives. And they thank me and they say, "Wow, I've never ever experienced anything like this before. I never thought I would feel this way while holding a snake. Thank you. I might even get a snake." So there is a mystery to snakes. There is a primordial beauty. There is the ability to overcome fear, you know, trust. She's so sweet. She will never harm anyone. Unless you smell of a rat, by the way, which if you smell of rats, then take a shower before you hold her. But yes. Hi. Are you healing the world, Florence? Are you healing the world? You're named Florence because there was a healer called Florence Nightingale. And you've just upstaged her, by the way, in your beauty and your presence. It's a unanimous vote that went out to the universe. And you are now the new Florence Nightingale. And look how beautiful she is. And imagine how stunning she's going to be when she is 7 foot. And I can't wait for that because then I'll get a huge hug. And you can put Florence around your neck. And she doesn't really squeeze. I hope she doesn't damage the mic, but let's give it a go. Are you going to smash the mic? Please don't smash the mic today. And it's like having a massage. It's so relaxing being with snakes. And she's arboreal, which means she climbs trees. So she's not going to fall down. So she'll just use me like she would use the branch of a tree. She's very happy to be here. She's very relaxed. We can tell by her body language she's relaxed because her tongue is flicking in and out because she's smelling the environment. She's not constricted or hard, which means she's very relaxed. She can sense everything that's going on in my body. She'll be able to sense my heartbeat. She will sense my emotions today. She might know if I'm anxious or not. And certain snakes will tense up if you're anxious. Certain snakes might become a little more feisty if you're anxious. She doesn't do that regardless of your emotional state. She is relaxed. So if you are anxious and you hold Florence and you just let her do her work, just kind of tune into the presence of her. Her presence is so strong that you kind of end up getting tuned and upgraded and synced to her presence. And I've spoken about people in higher states of consciousness, gurus or teachers, people who've meditated a lot or just transmuted a lot of suffering and entered a higher state of consciousness as being like flames, being like huge bright candles that when other people come into the vicinity of them, they also, just by being in the presence, absorbing the warmth, start to ignite themselves like a candle lighting another candle. And so you can then get these upgrades from being around beings that are in high states of consciousness. And that is true of snakes. Snakes reverberate primordial stillness. They are mindful beings. They are advanced, very advanced in that they just radiate stillness. So if you're around them, just by being around them, you can become very still and meditative and just spontaneously mindful. They help you get out of your head. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I just can pick up one of my snakes and I just feel amazing. They're just so beautiful and calming. They're deeply misunderstood. Some people say that they just want to be left alone to meditate and to radiate stillness and not to be interfered with by humans. So that's why humans are afraid of them a lot of the time, because they are the stillness amplifiers on the planet. They're here to amplify stillness. They're here to radiate stillness. And so part of their purpose is to just to be left alone, like little stillness bombs everywhere in the environment. And so they're doing their job, and they also get rid of rodents if there's overpopulations of them. Oh, dear me, didn't want to hurt her there. And so, yes, open your mind to snakes as meditative aids. Maybe if you have the chance to hold one mindfully. Make sure that the owner's taken care of them very well so they're not moody. And there is a real social element to keeping snakes. There's a huge reptile community, and people can actually get addicted to snakes. You don't think of people getting addicted to dogs or, well, sometimes cats, but it's very common to see people in the reptile community with t-shirts which say, "Promise, this is my last snake," because they have an effect on your nervous system. They have an effect, and some people, they just can't stop being around snakes, talking about snakes, keeping snakes. There's a genuine snake addiction going around because of their healing qualities. And they may not be aware, even the reptile keepers and breeders might not be aware that that's what's going on, but they're getting healed by these snakes. They're getting upgraded by these snakes. Their consciousness is getting expanded through being around these profoundly beautiful and misunderstood creatures. And some people, like maybe in the Indian culture, are aware that snakes can house a lot of stillness and non-physical intelligence, and that can rub off on humanity, but the West generally isn't. When people think of snakes, they just think them of the cool pets that take good pictures with, and then you get people that want to seem hard because they got a snake or whatever. But they're meditative aids, they're healing aids, and they also help you contemplate death and rebirth. And if you keep a snake, you have to overcome a lot of your own fears, and a lot of the time there is some resistance to feeding the snake a rodent. Obviously, you don't have to feed live, and it's not it's illegal in England to feed live, and in America they suggest not to. It's just frozen defrost. But even then, psychologically feeding an animal another animal can lead to some existential questions, especially if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, and you're feeding an animal's a live full sized animal, um, but you do it for love, and you do it because the snake, that's the way it's designed. And it starts to make you understand that nature is designed in a certain way and everything's okay. And then you expand in consciousness to understand the ecosystem and different animals' dharmas or purposes. And also, the snakes never take more than they need from their environment. They're very peaceful in their environment. They have a delicate nature, a very elegant and delicate nature. It's quiet but confident. And so those traits rub off. So you end up being more quietly confident, and you end up being more delicate and mindful. Because if you grab the snake or scare the snake or mistreat the snake can react, and you could get bitten or, really harm the snake. And so if you want to have a good interaction, you just relax, and you become one with the snake. And you become one with the snake because it's on your body and it becomes like part of your body. I used to dance, I used to belly dance with snakes when I was at university. And snakes used to become like almost part of my costume. And we would have this oneness going on, and people loved it in the audience, and the snakes loved it, and they pick up on the vibrations and the mood. And certain snakes love meeting people and going out. Florence loves meeting people and going out. If I want her put her back on her Buddha or back in her tank, do you want to go back in? No, you see, she wants to go on the top. So she's quite happy. And then I think she has oh, where are you going? She might want to go in her water bowl up here. There's a little fountain here. Oh, oh. But she often smashes that water bowl. Have to be careful. But let's say goodbye, and then you can go maybe in your water bowl. Bye, everyone. Haven't I got such a beautiful black tongue? And just imagine her 7 foot. She's giving you darshan. She's upgrading you. Take care.